we are now changing gears and getting to the political segment now. People in politics, and yes, send in your questions, your comments, and even your questions, and we'll be sampling them during and after this particular program. With me in studio, I have Honorable Sylvia Kasanga, who is a nominated senator in the Wiper Democratic Party. She will tell us more about what's happening in the party, in the Wiper Party, in the umbrella party that she belongs to, and of course, a gentleman here. No, one-man show. In 2017, you all remember him? Right, 2017, MUTHIORA KARIARA, who was the presidential running mate in 2017 presidential election. And by the way, he's still running for that particular seat. All right? Today is youth and politics, and how you, as a youth, can take charge in politics. Lady and gentlemen, welcome to the program.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Mheshimiwa, let's start with you first of all. What's happening in the party, in the Wiper, in the umbrella party? Are we covered? Or we are going to be rained now that the umbrella has been folded off the NASA coalition? What's happening?
The umbrella has never been folded. Right. And it will never be folded. But at least we saw something that... something definitely happened yesterday. What happened? First, let me appreciate having me on the platform. You're welcome. I come to KBC once in a while, but I usually come for the afternoon. The lunchtime one where we speak in Kiswahili. So I'm happy to be here for this particular one, and I appreciate it. Now, Wiper, as always, the umbrella is there. The umbrella is a sign of comfort to tell Kenyans we are here, and we are here to protect you, and we are here to serve you. That's what an umbrella does, and there's no way it'll ever fold. Let's just be clear at least with that. From the NASA coalition. The movement from the NASA coalition is something that has been coming. And it is in no way to suggest that our bigger brother, we are looking down on him, or we can never work with our bigger brother. That is not really the case. This is a case of reorganizing ourselves. If you handle contracts, just like any other contract, when people get into a contract, when the two parties get into a contract, they go with the very clear terms of reference. And the clear terms of reference and deliverables and how to share whatever benefits or no benefits, how to share them, and in the end, how to exit. And the contract has a lifetime. So what we are saying is that as far as we are concerned, the lifetime of this particular contract has come to an end. And it is time now we go back and then regroup and come back again. That is exactly what is happening. So it should not be construed as anything else other than an opportunity for everyone first to go back to their house, reorganize themselves, and then come back again to the table so that we can come with new terms of reference for the next contract. So that's what really it is. Now, at the moment, we have been, of course, having conversations with other parties. And as you know, we have the One Kenya Alliance, which also is in the cooking pot. It's cooking, and it's looking good, because then it has a representation, from a wider range of Kenyans. And remember, one of the things that our party has been very clear about is the inclusivity. We are saying we want to work together with everybody. We want everyone to be included. And so we are thinking that the One Kenya Alliance may be now the alliance to watch out for, that everyone now should come on board so that we work together as One Kenya Alliance. So really that is what happened yesterday. And I think it's such a big deal because for a long time we've been walking in the shadow of ODM. And it has been construed that we cannot survive without ODM. And yes, although we may be smaller, of course not. I mean, we are still here, and we will always be here. And remember, we have our representation, which is a strong representation. We have very strong leadership in Wiper, and if you look at the work of all our parliamentarians, you will see strong leadership. And in fact, we feel that because of the way NASA had been the terms of reference, the way it had been organized, we actually lost a couple of seats, because then you'd find also ODM fielding in places where maybe they should have left for their younger brothers to so we could have actually gained probably a little bit more. Why are you feeling bullied by the ODM? Well, the word bully comes up a lot. And it is true, sometimes there is bullying. In fact, when you hear their Secretary General speaking on TV, in fact it borders on insulting other people's leaders, which is very wrong. That kind of talk is very wrong, because my leader is my leader and will always be my leader. You don't know him, so you have to respect every leader, because they have a process in which they get where they are, and there are people who have chosen them. So that kind of talk is not correct. And you see, when a Secretary General speaks, he's not speaking for himself. You know, the fact remains he's not speaking for himself. So that is the kind of thing we are saying. We don't want this kind of brothers around us who demean us and look down upon us, yet we are leaders in our own very right. You know, that kind of, you know, bullying comes. But I'll tell you, in the House, like in Senate, the cooperation between ODM and Wiper is really commendable. We work together very well in the House.
Because you're members of the NASA coalition.
Yes, we work together in the House, and in the House there is no really NASA, it is leaders working together. Yeah, there is no bullying that we have experienced in the House. If anything, what we've seen is support for each other. ODM and Wiper, our agendas in Parliament have usually moved together as one. So really the bullying is this perception that is drawn, especially in the social media out there, rather than in the House per se. And it is a wrong thing. It's something we have to call out and say, this is not correct. You can't walk around, you know, very arrogantly thinking other leaders are lesser than you. It is not correct.
I see Kariara here nodding. He is a presidential candidate, by the way. A youthful there. I covered him during presidential election and during 2017 at Catholic University. It was that particular moment you feel like you are a one-man show and the entire world is watching. Are you in talks with Wiper?
We have not engaged Wiper yet. But I guess now that they're back to the market, maybe it's time, because the goal when you want to deliver change is you must first capture power. And I must laud what Wiper did yesterday. It's what has been happening in Kenya over time, where we've had an abusive relationship between the ruling elite and the citizens. Wiper has been in an abusive relationship with their elder brothers. I have had on national... It
started from bullying, now it's abusive relationship.
Well, that's what it's been. Just as abusive as it has been between citizens and the ruling elite, even the ruling elite amongst themselves have extended the same culture. Which makes you wonder, if they do not have power right now and they can treat each other in that way, then what would happen when they capture power? Now, that said, Wiper wiggled themselves out of that, even though it's not official yet. I'm hoping they will go ahead and write to the Registrar of Political Parties.
That is my next question.
And make it official, so that it's not an empty threat. Wiper's party leader is known to be a very good negotiator. Actually a smooth walker who can walk through situations, and hapo katikati he emerges with something. He could be positioning himself for a negotiation, so he captures the presidential candidacy, supported by the others, of course. Nothing is wrong with that, but it's a good thing that for once they have stood up to ODM. You remember them being called dwarfs, and the elder brother saying you cannot force them to kneel or bend so they are at the same height. This is a lesson to ODM that times are changing and they should pay attention. And to every other party that has been dealing with its partners in the same way. Hii Kenya ni yetu sisi wote. It doesn't belong to specific individuals. It's true that there are some things that were not very clear, but they'll become clear as the road progresses towards 2022.
Absolutely. And Mheshimiwa, he's raised a very salient point there. Why haven't you written to the Register of Political Parties to formally quit the NASA coalition? Was this just an empty threat?
Well, the ratification was just done yesterday. Remember, the NEC meeting was just yesterday. We sat for about 3 hours, and it was unanimously decided that that is the direction to go. So, of course, between today, maybe and tomorrow, the letter then will go out to the Register of Parties. No, it will happen. It will happen because that is what NEC has ratified, unless NEC sits again and changes their mind, which I can tell you is not going to happen.
Does it mean, because a statement by Suna East Member of Parliament, Junet Mohammed, said that whichever way it goes, Wiper members of Parliament serving in different committees in Parliament will still continue serving those capacities. So what's happening here? because if you leave NASA, you should leave the committees as well.
Yeah, we are ready to leave.
Yeah.
But you see, I told you in Parliament we work very well together, and we have very strong leadership ourselves as Wiper, as you know, like our minority whip, Senator Mutula Kilonzo Jr. You know how strong a leader he is. Even them, they don't. Nobody in Senate would want to see Senator Mutula not whipping, because he does such a good job of it, as well as sitting in the House Business Committee to advise the House business how it moves forward. So chances are that nobody wants to lose that. So that tells you that in as much as, yes, we are saying this corporation called NASA needs to wind up so that we can regroup again, the cooperation that is the work that we do is appreciated by both parties. That's really what it is. We have nothing to fight about when it comes to the actual work of how we coordinate as NASA. That one I want to assure you. So we were ready. If ODM wants you know, our seats to be taken away, we don't mind. We spoke about it yesterday and we said fine if that is the case. Otherwise, if they don't mind, we shall continue serving. In any case, we will always serve Kenyans from wherever, you know, wherever we sit and wherever we are. So it is really not a big deal.
It's not a big deal.
Yeah, it's not really a big deal from where we sit.
Raila Odinga gave Wiper the presidential election, the parliamentary, from the political parties fund. Why not the presidential?
I guess because it didn't really happen. The first one was nullified, and then the second one didn't happen. And that is one of the bone of contention. Well, not really. It's not really a bone of contention from where we are. The first election was nullified. The second election, we did not participate.
Yes.
So there's really nothing to share there, so to speak. No, you know, we are happy and we are satisfied. If you had my party leader, the way he spoke yesterday, you know, ODM has finally ceded that indeed they needed to share the funds. You see, first we needed to get to that point of them accepting that their wins were not just theirs. They were our wins. You see, that is what the concept is. The concept of sharing money is accepting that you don't just sit with all those seats in Parliament pretty just like that. We all participated. We all campaigned for ODM. We campaigned for ODM around the country. So we all participated in it. So we deserved that portion. So with his Honorable Right Honorable Raila accepting, that was, you know, that's what brothers should do. And, you know, the pain of it is that from 2017, we've been having this quagmire. Imagine if Wiper had received their money right from 2017. We would have been able also to do many things and grow our, you know, chama, even us buy buildings the way they have bought buildings, you know, and things like that. So that was a very painful part of the contract for us. But it was not the ultimate deal breaker, actually. The ultimate deal breaker is just the fact that we are not just going to be in the shadow anymore as Wiper. Yes. We needed to come out, redefine ourselves, and then now we move forward.
Yes.
Allow me to weigh in on this because it's important.
They don't be the shadow anymore.
Yes, and therein lies the problem. That there is quite a bit of insincerity amongst our leaders. Let me speak as one who went through the second presidential election. That's the one that on record counts. NASA pulled out of that election. So when the Office of the Registrar of Political Parties is dishing out funds, according to the law, it's two-way. Number one, there's that based on your strength in Parliament, and then based on the presidential vote. Now, NASA did not participate in the presidential vote that counts. So they are not supposed to get anything. Now, ODM, in their wisdom, albeit all too late, realized that we did not give our partners a fair hearing. In as much as in this mix they shouldn't get a share, we should have shared what we got. So there is the first step where the insincerity comes in. That long before, they should have realized that it's only fair that since we went hunting together with these people, even though we did not run to the very end, we got something. Let's first share that, even as we look to share in the other. Now, the other part is this. The other partners know too well like for instance, in the case for the presidency, in their contract it says that they were to support Raila to become president.
Yes.
And then for one term. And then it would be ODM's turn to support another candidate. That's what the contract says, but it's not what they say out there. Raila has never been president.
And that's how he argues, but you know, we cannot rule away because he's never become president, even though the contract says that it's just one term.
Yes, and it's on paper.
Right.
That's disputed. So that's the other part of the insincerity that we need to get out of. When we get into a contract, we should get into it with the intention to live it to the full. Because if we don't, the same thing that happens to the promises we make when we are looking for votes follows. That we'll make promises which we do not intend to keep. We hoodwink the voter, and then after we're in office, it's business as usual. It's us first and then them if our interests are aligned.
Yes.
So it's time to start curing this insincerity, running on bad faith. We should all come to the table with clean hands and ensure that in all these that we are doing, it's the citizens' interest that's put first. Citizens first.
Mheshimiwa, are we likely to see a talk between Raila Odinga and Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka to reunite?
Anything is possible.
I saw that coming. I saw that coming because yesterday Kalonzo Musyoka, Honorable, said that he's still open to talks. You know, with he's not completely cut ties with ODM.
Yes.
Are we likely to see that coming?
You know, it's the reality of the times. You cannot have a single candidate running for presidency in this country anymore. Those days are gone. We're going to be ruled now by coalitions.
Yes.
The same way you have the Jubilee coalition that is ruling us right now is the same way even in the next electoral cycle you're going to see a coalition. A coalition of who is a question. And that is why, like you're seeing the karata now happening, pop, 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 movement going around. And don't forget we have the BBI that is sort of looming. We're waiting to see what the judiciary is going to rule. And, you know, whether, you know, elections will be postponed or otherwise, which as Wiper we have put our foot down. We are saying no, we have to go by the constitution. But, you know, the BBI was bringing some serious structural adjustments, which will, of course, affect the way, you know, leaders will organize themselves. And even without BBI, still, coalitions, people will still talk. And, you know, it's a game of numbers. Leadership, I mean, our politics is a game of numbers. So in the end, you can't walk alone. You have to be open enough to speak to like-minded. But the issue here is like-minded leaders. You know, like you're saying, and he's speaking very well, and I really appreciate you for that. You know, the interest of Kenyans, many times, you know, you get the impression that the interest of Kenyans is nowhere on the table. It's like nowhere.
It's us first.
It's the leaders. We want to get into power. Power is about controlling resources. It's about controlling money. And our new constitution, we have about 1.5 trillion every year that is under the control of, you know, the president and the DP and their team. And that is a significant amount of money, and how it is going to be distributed, you know, across the regions. That is after you have distributed to the counties and all the others. What is left is about 1.5 trillion. And that's a significant amount of money. And that's why you're seeing all this, you know, movement going around. Who's going to be next to control, you know, that resource? So the interest of Kenyans is important. And what in Wiper we are saying, it is very critical that we work with the like-minded leaders. You know, first we have zero tolerance for corruption. And that we have demonstrated by the quality of our leaders, even starting from our own party leader. We are coming to Kenyans on a clean slate, and we are telling Kenyans the biggest, you know, one of the biggest issues that is affecting us today as a society, our economy, and everything around what we do is the issue of corruption or facilitation money or whichever way you want to coin that thing, that vice that has entered into our fabric of our society. And we're saying we need now leaders who are going to come on a clean slate. You're not going to fight corruption if you're not clean.
Leaders like One Kenya Alliance for that reason?
I'm talking about Wiper Democratic Movement. We are starting there first. And that's why we felt, first let us exit from everywhere, and then let's start looking for like-minded people. You see? So even the One Kenya Alliance, as it's forming itself, we're still looking. We're still looking. You know, we're still looking. Because we are very clear in our minds. Forming the next government will require people who come with a clean slate. because we have to tackle corruption without fear and favor as a first stop.
Absolutely.
Yes, yes.
That takes me, we need clean leaders to start on a clean slate. That takes me to a completely new topic here about the youth now. 70 plus and over of voters are the youth.
Yes.
35 and below, but mostly we rarely see them on political podiums and political platforms. What is happening? Starting with you, Paul.
What's happening is the ground that's famously referred to is poisoned to empower young people and the youth to ascend to elective political office. Usually it would be best if through appointive positions we gave young people and the youth an opportunity, because that's when you establish yourself, garner sufficient experience, and even gather resources to run for office. But we've seen in the past couple of years, the executive led by His Excellency the President has not been in favor of electing these cadre of people.
Yes. And actually, according to research, is around 6.9% make it to parliament.
Yes.
That's a small number.
And it's even smaller when it comes to top positions in appointive government offices. And I just say that it's prejudicial. The president, in his own admittance, said that he's not in favor of appointing young people because when he gives them an opportunity, they steal. But look at the track record. The track record says that since independence, young people have exhibited exemplary leadership.
Yeah.
You remember Tom Boyer from back then. You remember J.M. Karaoke. Come through our history. Look at the current Senate where Kasanga sits.
Yes.
She just mentioned Mutula Kilonzo. Look at the work that Senator Murkomen, Senator Sakaja, all the youthful leaders are doing. Go to the National Assembly.
Yes.
Look at the great work. Now, in the top executive, we have Zach Kinuthia.
Yes.
We have Patrick Osiany. We have Mwangazi, the CAS.
David. CS, yes.
Yeah, the CAS for health. Look at how great the work they are doing. And ask yourself, what if instead of the 3 we have in the top executive, we had proportionate representation, that is over 70%. How much could we get done? Now, change all that. Let's say we believed more in young leaders and we elected more of them into parliament. You see, they not only bring the energy, passion, enthusiasm, we have so much more to lose. We know that if we mess up now, we have a longer duration to pay for our sins. So usually we'll exert ourselves with integrity. And our goal is mostly excellence. So a season has come when we, as the youth and the young of Kenya, must decide that we've been on the menu for far too long. And even that which is on the menu has value. Let us demand that our worth is given for what it is.
Let's demand that our worth is given to us. Senator, what do you make of that? It's a powerful statement.
Yeah, that is very powerful, and you've said it very well.
Yes.
You can't ignore the youth. It's wrong to ignore them, to imagine they're not there. That's just wrong.
They'll have a revolt.
Yes, they will have a revolt. But I think I'm trying to see how to frame this. In the executive, public service.
Yes.
I can understand public service not having a very youthful, a large number of youthful representation. Because public service has a way that it works, you know, and the way you have to rise to the ranks and the way you have to learn the ropes, because there are ways of doing things in public service. So that one I can understand. Although it does not mean that then we should not begin to see young people being, you know, brought in and beginning to be trained to rise, you know, and learning the ropes. Now in parliament, we have surprisingly, a very good representation of young people.
Yes.
In fact, let me tell you, let me confess here today.
Please do.
Me, I'm not a youth. I know I'm always clustered as youth, but I passed the bracket of youth many years ago.
Yes. Yeah.
But I'm happy to, to go with that bandwagon.
To engage the debate about the youth, right?
About the youth. We have probably 7 or 8 senators who are actually younger than myself in Senate.
Yeah.
Yes. So you cannot say the youth are not represented in the Houses of Parliament, both National Assembly and in the Senate. But for some reason, it's as if that impact is still not felt by the young people on the ground. Like he's saying, on the ground, it's like they don't feel that the young people don't feel like we really are represented up there. And I'm not sure quite why the disconnect then is there. Maybe our leaders were not engaging enough with the youth so that they can feel.
Just youths are just okay with average?
Well, that's the next thing I'm going to come to. But there's clearly a disconnect there that we need to figure out then what needs to be done. Then why is it then that our leaders, whenever they now need attention, they find a way of going to the youths, but in the negative way? Then they rally the youths to do, bottoms up wheelbarrow.
Vijana oye and all that. Yes,
they're the ones who are called now to do those things, which is not what the kind of engagement that we want. So I just want to say maybe it is how our civic education maybe is not reaching our young people enough. I don't know what you're going to say, but the few times I've engaged with young people, because I have several programs I've engaged with youth. When I was doing the mental health, when we were doing the advocacy work for the mental health amendment bill at that time, I was doing a lot of work with the youths, because they're the ones who came on board. The young people around mental health have really organized themselves with a community-based group. So I used to do a lot of work with the young people. But you can see they don't really understand what is your work in Parliament. So a lot of my conversations actually had to do with, I'm a senator and this is what I do in Parliament. And how do I engage with you? You can bring your problems, I escalate them in this manner, in this manner, in this manner. So you begin to see that there's need for some serious civic education. I don't know where we have missed the gap. I don't know whether our education system is teaching us enough, or we need to have those county hall, town hall meetings where youth leaders now sit with the young people and extrapolate and explain how then do we get our agendas.
So a civic education should be actively getting involved.
Our young people need to be fully and actively engaged to understand the civic space that they engage in, and how then their issues can be really escalated up. And in fact, sometimes the issues are a bit dire. You find that this government of Uhuru Kenyatta has actually tried, when it comes to youth programs, youth empowerment, this, youth fund, youth this, youth this. Yes, you will hear a bit of corruption here and there. But the important thing to note is that a lot of young people don't even know how many programs are there currently. The availability of the programs that are there for them, so that they can begin to see where they can tap in. Such kind of information. Then how is it supposed to be reticulated down to the people? When the president was coming to Ukambani, I was privileged to be in a small task force. We were engaging very closely with the president's unit to first analyze what are the programs that are happening in the whole of Ukambani region. And I was shocked when the youth minister brought a whole list of things that they are doing in Ukambani. And I was like, how come I don't know these things? Even me, I don't know that these things are happening. So then how are our citizens supposed to know these things are happening? And we're asking the minister, then where is the disconnect? Because we need to know. That means the executive also has to find ways of working very closely with the members of Parliament on some of these programs, so that then the members of Parliament can notify or involve, the young people. So there's a communication gap between the leadership and the youth, and we have to realize that this youth, this next gen, if we don't empower them correctly, it will be a very big problem in the future. They must be empowered correctly. So this civic education, this conversation must happen on a much larger scale, in my opinion, so that then they can engage politically and do their civic duty in the right manner and channel it in the right way, and then they are not abused with the wrong things.
Yes, Paul. The question is, are we just okay? We are just okay, wake up in the morning. When you ask a youth, did you watch news? Me is watching news nowadays. Like, how do you get to know what's happening around you if you don't even watch a 15 minutes of a news bulletin to get updated on what's happening? And then you say, politicians ni wabaya, iyo ni wazee, and then since we are just okay. Are we just okay with 50% or average? Just fine?
No, we are not.
Right.
A lot of what has been happening is stereotyping. there is a group of people who think that the youth are those people who show up at rallies, are paid 100 or 200 shillings. They go drink and cause chaos and run around. Now, that's just a small representation of that cadre. We have very sober young people who are well educated, who are trying to get education by themselves, who are contributing positively towards building the nation. So, number one, let's not generalize that the youth are this type of people alone. It's broad-based, and we have a lot of them doing very constructive things. Now, she's mentioned that we need to conduct civic education, and I think we need to go a notch higher and conduct political education as well. Because if we are to have leaders, then we need to get them to understand what it takes and how to go about it. Because a lot of young people, like she just mentioned, do not know the roles of their leaders. They will expect from a senator what an MCA is supposed to do, what a governor is supposed to do. But then the elephant in the room is that our politics is transactional. You have to make me support you. And in this case, that means you have to pay me so I can even imagine that you can be my leader. And therein lies the problem. There is a story that's making headlines at the moment about how much you need to have for you to run as a member of parliament or as an MCA. It starts from as much as 3.5 million
for an MCA
Kenya shillings. And Victor, even if you were to take a mortgage and pay it over the next 20 years, a mortgage of 3.5, you would need to have a stream of income that's not less than 70,000. Now, for someone who just completed tertiary education, that's a bit far-fetched. So as we conduct political education, let our goal be that we are looking to raise leaders who are about impacting the society in a purposeful way.
I think it's about the perception, because when you talk about the money exchanging hands, first of all, I'll come to watasema nitakuja kwa ground, and you have a briefcase of money. First of all, I will come to that rally knowing very well that I'm going to go back home with 500 shillings or 200 shillings. So it starts with us.
Yes, it does start with us.
Right.
And it's the reality. It's not imagined. You will go with very lofty ideas, and if you do not have the training for it and a thick skin, you'll not get away without giving money. I'm talking out of experience, because I have been ruffled up before, and then I learned that what you need to do is to always be prepared. As a leader, when you're engaging anyone, especially the young people, let them find value in what you're delivering. So if you're not called to leadership, do not force yourself into that space. And those that are there, for instance, she has just mentioned that we have 8 youthful senators, and they're making headlines every day due to the caliber of leaders that they are. Let us all aspire to get to that level where even when you meet young people and they ask you, are you going to just leave us like that? You can ask them, are you sure the time you have spent here, you got nothing? Because if that's the case, then you most probably are not who I would like to support me. Which is how I've been approaching things. So political education needs to be taken a notch higher. And that aside, we need to address nepotism. And I'm glad we have a representative from Wiper here, because when the nominations came and names have been forwarded, when Wiper has a cross-cutting support, I remember a relative of the party leader was nominated to the East African Legislative Assembly. So if we clean house and mean business, if we are people of integrity and we live it, we will attract the right kind of leaders who will be focused on delivering results that will inspire leaders to emerge. Leaders who are looking to serve their societies and elevate them to a level where it's not just about my stomach today, but about entrenching a system that will take care of me and the next generation.
Absolutely. And Senator, the issue of affirmative action, the 2/3 gender rule, it comes to Parliament, it flops every particular reading. It has never seen light of day. And when you look at the representation even in Parliament, the male colleagues and all the counterparts in the National Assembly, both in the Senate and the National Assembly, surpasses that of the female counterparts. What's going to happen? What's this radical surgery that is going to happen to make women and ladies to go out there and fight it with men in this political space?
We need to empower the women a little bit more. And you know, there are many organizations now, I'm aware, who are really training women on how to, handle themselves and come out for active elective posts. And this is because whether BBI comes to be or not, it was very clear from the first BBI report that Kenyans no longer want nominated slots, affirmative action.
They want to go for it.
They want the women to go for it. They don't want to hear nominated women. They don't want to hear women rep. If you remember the first BBI report of the task force after it went round, it was clear that Kenyans are kind of demanding that women need to go at it. And so what happens is, to have that 2/3 then be achieved, then it has to be several fronts have to now come out. First, the political parties have to make sure their nomination lists include women. So from that basic level. And then secondly, we have to empower women so that they are not scared to run. And the space, I mean, when you hear the stories of the first women in Parliament and you compare to today, we've come a long way. Women are now, finding their feet. And the electorate is finding them more acceptable. I mean, things are changing, times are different. And I think also because of the youthful population that we have, that space is, beginning to widen. It's not what it was like before. So I think it's just a question of how political parties, a lot of it, by the way, will be borne by the political parties. Their goodwill to allow for women, to give them that space. It will be done by the political parties. And even under the BBI, actually, the beginning of the 2/3 was starting from how the party lists are presented, isn't it? And then there was a small formula, I think there was a formula in Parliament, National Assembly, how then should it still not be achieved from the election, then there is that balance that will have happened by picking a few who have participated in election to enter into the National Assembly. So without BBI, then there's a lot of mathematics has to be done, because you can be sure
to balance that equation.
to balance that, because you can be sure then the next Parliament will still default. Like the Justice Maraga had said, that we were sitting in Parliament illegally, considering we were deflated.
The President should dissolve Parliament.
Yeah, we should have been dissolved by now. So if we don't correct that at the next election, if BBI does not come through, then definitely it will have to be done in the first instance of taking oath of office. Parliament will have no choice but to regularize that. Otherwise, we'll end up just having another, rat race. And those are some of the things for us who are proponents, as a proponent of BBI, that we are hoping this. But I just want to comment something before you move on, because you did mention about my party leader nominating a relative into Yala. Of course, I have to make a comment on that.
And when I have to make a comment on it. ODM, we remember their party list and who it included as well. So
it's nepotism. It is about, families also wanting to have a little bit of legacy. They want to train some people, but more importantly is also to appreciate that, Wiper did a lot more. That's just one scenario, but there's a lot of other nominations that happened that were not nepotism, so to speak. We have a nominated member, Serone, in the National Assembly, who is from Nakuru. We have county assemblies where we have a lot of nominated Wiper members who are not also, relatives, so to speak. So this particular case was really highlighted in a way to make my party leader not, look dishonorable. But truly speaking, there's nothing truly dishonorable when such opportunities arise and somebody wants to, have, a relative. They're also trying to groom their children and things like that. So it is that kind of opportunity that should not necessarily be looked down upon.
Well, it's just curious that out of 15 million qualified and competent young people in Kenya, you land on someone who is your brother, or you land on someone who is your son. Out of that very wide range.
But why my party leader? There are so many others who are doing it. Why is it that somehow everybody just noticed what is Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka did? I don't hear what the Right Honorable Raila did, and his is quite significant, actually.
I just mentioned, I just say there are those who had their brothers, there are those who had their nephews, there are those who had their girlfriends, which is what complicates the case of the affirmative action she was talking about. So, I'm glad we are talking about integrity.
Even as we come to your closing remark, I'm told that we are running out of time. This is a conversation that we can have on end.
It can never end.
It can never end. Just in 1 minute each, what do you think now moving forward, that something that can be done to just change that simple mindset of a youth, because we are heading towards an election, and it's going to be one of the toughest and quite competitive election come 2022, and still you're going to run. Wish you all the best. How do you talk to those youth out there to make them have that change of mind and see politics differently? In 1 minute, if you please can.
Well, we have a constitution that allows us to build strong institutions. We have chapter 6 that speaks to the kind of character that our leaders should have. Let us push for the full implementation of our constitution. And besides that, let us demand of our leaders that they allow for our institutions to function optimally. Let us build strong political parties. And I'm glad that right now political parties are awakening. They are talking about a fight against corruption. They're talking about integrity. There is the age about patriotism. If Kenya is to be great, our institutions must be greater than individuals and selfish interests. Let's build these institutions, because that way they will inspire confidence in young people. Young people will front themselves to serve in those institutions because they know that fairness and justice will be accorded to them. And that way we will attract the right crop of leaders and will make Kenya great.
Will make Kenya great, absolutely. Thank you. Yes, Senator.
So, and you've put it very well. Thank you. Strong institutions are what make a country governable and for the future. And for me, I just want to say that the space for youth is there, and this is their moment. The young people, this is their moment. This is truly your moment. But you cannot be if you don't equip yourself with information. And the right information, not just any information. And if young people really want to rise to leadership, then they need to be informed. They have to take interest in what is happening around them. Right now, like in Wiper Party, we are starting our youth league. Elections are beginning to start from, and they're starting, from the ground upwards. We are beginning to roll that up, and we are encouraging them to come out, because we are looking for youthful leadership to run our party. And we really are looking for people who are at least informed, so that they can help inform other young people on their roles and duties in the civic space. So young people need to awaken as well. They really need to awaken to the situation that is around them, that this country is theirs. It's theirs to have. It's theirs to lose if they don't then rise to the occasion that is being called out for them. And I really want to encourage them to that extent.
And just 1 second, you sit in the ad hoc committee on COVID-19?
Oh, yes.
Are we okay? Are we safe?
First, the ad hoc committee was wound up. It's an ad hoc committee, so it had a lifetime. It ended in December, and we handed over to all the standing committees. We handed over the findings and the recommendations to the standing committees for them to move forward. And I was very privileged to serve in that committee. So right now I'm not alive to the facts of health. We left that to the Committee of Health.
All right, okay.
Yes.
Just a simple thing here.
Yes, in 20 seconds. My director says that
okay. Now, to the young people of Kenya, you've seen what young and the youth have been able to do given the little space that they've had. Now, imagine if there were more of us. Imagine if we had a Kenya where I was president. Look at the kind of a cabinet and government would put up. Look at the energy, the passion, the enthusiasm, the integrity, and the vision that would be delivered. Believe in yourselves, because a time has come for you to make it incumbent upon yourself to make Kenya great.
Absolutely.
Kenya great again.
Senator, there's a question here.
Oh, okay.
Are you going to run for a political seat come 2022?
I was hoping for a different kind of a question. I thought we want to resolve, serious, political and whatever questions.
No. There's just a question here this is from Makueni.
It's from Makueni?
Yes.
Yeah, actually today I was just mentioning to the producer that my name is written that I'm from Machakos County.
Yes.
But, well, I live in Machakos County, but I come from Makueni.
Yes.
I'm very interested in Makueni, and if I'm to run, I'll run in Makueni.
Right.
And not in Machakos. But I have not made the decision yet, but very soon I will make the decision, yes.
Okay, are you in touch with Senator of Machakos?
Yes, Senator Kavindu.
Yes.
I call her mom.
Yes.
Very much in touch.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
She's a wonderful lady. We love her very much in Parliament.
Yes.
Yes.
And Kavinga?
Sorry?
Kavinga?
Kavinga?
My former presidential candidate.
Right.
He's actually told me a lot of stuff about her.
Yes.
Her training is in architecture.
Yes, I'm an architect.
And besides that, she has a great passion for mental health.
Over 16 years of experience.
Yes.
She's doing quite a lot.
Yeah.
Yes.
I hope she considers running because given the kind of work she's been doing,
yes,
she would do Kenya a great service if she continued.
And is your boss coming to run again?
Well, he'll be here to announce that by himself. What I know is the Great Nationhood Party of Kenya has fronted me to look for people with whom we'll be running in 2022.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Okay.
Super.
I think at this particular... Yes, you want to say something?
No, I was just appreciating him.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I think this is the right time to conclude this conversation. But it can never end. The issue of youth, you have to go out there. 2022, the field is open for all of you to go and take up those political seats if you can. Go out there and fight, mostly the women. Go out there and fight for those positions. You will gain more respect when you go out there and fight against men, and you become victorious. All right, I've been talking to Honorable Sylvia Kasanga, who is a Democratic nominated senator, and of course Mr. and Honorable Kariara Paul MUTHIORA, who is former presidential running mate and party leader of TGN. All right, the question I have for you, and even you, when was the last time you did colon cleaning?
Never.
Never? Have you ever done colon cleaning?
You mean the cleansing of your digestive system?
Yes.
Yes. I do that once a year.
Now that is a topic coming up with the Gen Boy. It's an interesting how it's done. I have never done it. Probably you should even tell us how it was done. Probably just a precursor on what we should expect with Gen Boy.
No, it's about fasting a little bit and certain natural ingredients that you take.
Hold. All right, that is the next discussion we're having with Gen Boy after this break. Stick around.